So my name is Venketram, and I run a company called UNPAUSE Consulting. We call it UNPAUSE because supply chains never pause. Yeah. So our panel is going to be looking at the procurement function and how it's evolved over time, and what do we see as the challenges of the future. Yeah. So the way we actually looking to run this is essentially three questions that will do the round. One around the impact of COVID, geopolitical factors, and how that's influenced procurement. The second is all around digitization and AI and how that's changing things. And the third is the softer aspect in terms of leadership, skills, and people and talent that is required to cope with the challenges of the future. Yeah. So we'll try and get the team's view on each one of these questions. They'll keep it brief. They'll introduce themselves on the first question. So very clearly, I mean, procurement is a huge value add to every organization, right? I mean, like when I was in Kellogg, my boss used to tell me that other than the people cost, you're responsible for everything else. Yeah, every other cost that goes into the P&L is part of what the procurement can or should be influencing. Yeah, and every organization evolves over a period of time. The market spends, the capex, direct, indirect, all of them come into procurement over a period of time. Earlier, it used to be a pure purchase function. It's evolved over a period of time. Yeah, it's also the external interface to the world. Yeah, the procurement represents the organization to a very large portion of our stakeholders, which is the supplier base. Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about. I think I'll begin with the first question, and we'll start with you, Amol. Just the last 5 years have been pretty tumultuous with things like started with the COVID, then the geopolitical factors. Now you have, we don't know what to expect with the tariffs and what's going on in the world now. So everything keeps changing so dramatically and rapidly. How do you see procurement having evolved over the 5 years, and what's been the big changes that's been there, Amol, from a pharma industry perspective as well?
Hello. Yeah, good evening, everyone. And my name is Amol Polke, and I am heading the direct procurement for Piramal Pharma. Prior to this, I have worked with all the pharma giants like Cipla and Glenmark for almost more than 2 decades. So purely into pharma world. And thanks for putting this question, Venkata. If we talk about post-COVID or pre and post-COVID, I think so. We have seen a tremendous journey with respect to the procurement function as such. Pre-COVID, I would say it was more about, as you rightly said, about the purchase. The focus was on the purchase as such, and I would shift from purchase to the procurement part. That is how the shift has happened over the period. In the last 5 years, we have seen, earlier it was only about the cost savings initiatives, what we were thinking about, or the procurement was not very much focused on other aspects of the purchasing in and around what happens in the purchase. That evolved very, very drastically. When we say about the procurement, it was from the cost savings to the resilience. I would talk about that. Our dependency on the single sources had to change because we were in such a situation in COVID that we are stuck. We are not knowing from where we have to get the materials and how we can maintain our production facility running. So that was the key area to take some drastic steps, decisions about what is our choice or what are our options, how we can quickly turn around those aspects. And that was the reason why we started, as an industry, started thinking about where are we right now, how we want to leverage these aspects and of bringing in alternates, options, whether we can start thinking about make versus buy. Can we explore all our possibilities of outsourcing things? So these all concepts came in. And we are seeing the major change. What we have seen is that sitting at home, working from home. Now we have still hybrid culture, but that was the era where we are sitting at home. We are still seeing the entire world from a laptop or a desktop. And that is how the digital world came into picture. That was one of the biggest change, I would say, right from Zoom to Teams, and now many other platforms are available. But that was the era how we want to bring it, and the world became close to us. So these are some of the changes which I feel which is very, very prominent. With respect to pharma world, if I focus on, I think so the major change what I have seen is about the analytics part, or the digital platform which we brought in. That created a lot of insights, or how we went close to the market intelligence. That was a game changer part for us. We started thinking about those areas when we were struggling with the period. So I think so for me in pharma, these are some of the key top three things which I think it is a game changer.
Thanks. You spoke about resilience and digitization, which are massive changes, Amol. Deepak, from a consulting perspective, seeing a spectrum of industries, what's your thoughts?
Thank you, Venkat. So just to introduce myself, so I'm Deepak Jain. I'm the director at Argon & Co. and we are a supply chain operation and transformation company. Okay, so it's coming to the topic now, so procurement, right? So previously when we used to talk about the procurement or see anything, it will always used to be seen as purchasing or the cost. So I think the biggest evolution which has happened is now procurement is not only the cost control function. It is the more of a business strategic enabler. And that strategy could have been different for different industry. It can be the customer experience, it can be the flexibility, or is the business continuity. That can change, but now it's the kind of a center for the company's strategy. So probably from my experience, I will just give you two short examples of what we have done with a couple of companies and how they have used the procurement function to enable this strategy. So first is one of a global fashion retailer. So this is a global fashion retailer. They have an operation in 8 countries. And with the last 5 years, first with the COVID, then a lot of logistics issues in the Suez Canal and the Red Sea, and then all the duty. You never know where you can buy from. You could go to the Vietnam, then Bangladesh, geopolitical, now India. We don't know when the Trump is going to put more duty on India today. He said, we'll do that. So I think they were looking for the flexibility. Cost took the back burner. So what the things they were doing, first, definitely the diversifying the supply base. That's obvious now, different countries do that. And the second one, the important thing they were looking for is what they call is, instead of the push procurement, they were looking for the pull procurement. So push procurement, typically, they will design the styles and everything they will select and give it to the suppliers. And the suppliers will do mainly the technical part and deliver the product. The lead time was almost 6 months. For one season, you start before and then you get delivery. But now they are looking to go for a push procurement. And again, push procurement is a lot of the creativity and the procurement of the raw material, everything is pushed to the supplier. But it doesn't come very easily. So first is the organizational change. Now it cannot be done just sitting in the head office. They've gone into a little bit more presence within the sourcing countries. Second one is the capability development for the suppliers itself. So creativity, they can just learn the creativity and what kind of styles you need in a one day. So that's the second thing. And the third one and very important aspect is governance and control. So how do you do the quality control and everything? So because they are doing the raw material buy and everything. But for them, flexibility. So this will reduce their lead time from 6 months to almost 2 to 3 months. Again, 50% time, reaction time is better. So that's the biggest important one for them. The second example, again, very different industry. So it was one of the biggest mining contractor. And what they were doing is they were shipping the big trucks. So if you have seen a very big trucks, it's like a 800-ton trucks from Indonesia to Australia. For them, the business continuity was the biggest important aspect. If the shipment is delayed by 1 or 2 days, they are losing millions of dollars. So for them, it was again not cost and not the diversifying the supply base. For them, it was just the reliability and the business continuity. So they went with the more strategic approach. Who are the suppliers who can they pretty much integrate within their team? Who can integrate and work together, create the shipment plan with them, with the operations team, because that's what they were looking for. So again, I think as a closing point, I would say procurement, I think it's just a strategy enabler now rather than just a cost or a purchasing function anymore.
No, very well said, Deepak. I think also the whole aspect about what that business enabler can mean is different by the nature and type of the organization. So Nikhil, supply chain is where rubber hits the road. Yeah. So over to you.
Yeah. So thanks, Venkat, and thank you, Celerity, for inviting me over here. So just a brief introduction about me. My name is Nikhil Puri. So I have more than 2 decades of experience in various industries. Started my career in automotive, in Honda Cars India and General Motors. Then moved into telecom and now back to again in Yokohama Tires in automotive. So I'm taking care of direct procurement for the Yokohama Tires. So like you asked that what happened in the last 5 years. So when the COVID hit the entire globe itself, so nobody knew when side and we will come out of the COVID. So after when we started operations and coming back to the offices and all, so we started coining a term, we started discussing there is nothing called post-COVID. We have to start thinking that it is with COVID. So first we said that because we never knew, because that was out of our control. So we went back to our basics, and if you know, for the procurement, there are 3 basic levers: cost, service, and delivery. So we started focusing on these levers, that how do we shield ourselves on these 3 factors. So on cost side, and so it is always an amalgamation of at least 2 of these factors it is. So what we did was, it was not the idea from sourcing point of view was not to have a globalization or a nearshoring of an Indian sources. The intent was that globalization means in real sense globalization. So we bifurcated the entire globe into regions: China, Southeast Asia, Europe, Americas, and Middle East. And then we said, we want for each of our commodities, the supply chains to be established over there. And then we went back to the management, we called our stakeholders. It took a hell of a lot of a time, but today we can proudly say that we have our sourcing spread across the globe, which was not pre-COVID. It is past this region. So today, in our organization, we never talk about what is happening in the world. So there was a time when we were panicking. Anything happens in any part of the world, we can switch our sourcing from any part of the world to the other world. Second, then we came up on the serviceability. We spoke about that always inventory is always a larger talker talked about word. But then we realized that it is a necessary evil. So we built our supply chain in buckets. So basically the inventory in hand, basically in our warehouses, inventory in transit, and inventory at the supplier end. So we built, and that we made so much flexible. So today, any turmoil, any geopolitical situation that arises, that these 3 buckets actually get changed. This cycle can change between 45 days to 90 days to 120 days also. So that type of flexibility we built into that. Third was on the delivery side. Delivery was again, what we did was we built in closer to the plants and near hubs across India, where we can actually stock inventories, whether on vendor managed or whether it is on our own on cost. So on these factors, we were able to come out of today. Like I said, for us today, any geopolitical tension is a coffee gossip. Let me be very honest about it. I may sound very modest, but that's how we see that. It's, if anything happens across in any part of the world, we see that, okay, there is a plan, this, we have to just go and implement it. That's how we have started coming out of the things.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, I think I just want to say that, agility is not something that, you do creatively, just, reacting to something. It's like comes out of practice and a plan, yeah. So one of those, the Navy SEALs in the US, right, when they go out to take on an unidentified target, etc., they go with a solid plan, and they always know if this, do this. It's not that they are thinking on their feet there, yeah. So it sounds very bureaucratic. It's all about training, but when you have plans, then you automatically become agile. Thank you so much, Nikhil. Subodh, over to you. From your chemicals industry perspective, how have you seen the evolution in the last 5 years?
Yeah. Thanks, Venkat. And a very good evening to all of you. Brief introduction about myself. I am Subodh Nagarsekar. Currently working with an organization called as Rentokil Initial, and we are celebrating 100 years this year. So basically, Rentokil is a UK-based organization with presence in more than 90 countries across the globe. And we are in pest and hygiene management. And out of 90 countries, I can proudly say in 68 countries, we are the leaders in that country. Now, someone like me, throughout my school and college days, I was very weak in chemistry, but I've been in chemical industry for last 31 years, more than 3. I mean, that's how, life takes you. I work with companies like Reliance Industries, Syngenta, BASF, and now Rentokil. So post-COVID, what has changed is, most of you, I guess, are aware about the procurement golden triangle, right? And pre-COVID, the focus was only on the two vertices of the triangle, which were revenue and profitability or the margins. Whereas post-COVID, the scenario has also shifted to the third part, which is sustainability. And this sustainability is not only from the environmental or the ESG perspective. This sustainability is basically from the operational perspective. How you can make all your procedures, all your operational activities, initiatives in a sustainable way you have to develop. In my organization, basically what we have implemented is we have adopted a three-way approach. Number one, which are my two most important pillars. For any procurement person, the two most important pillars are, one is his supplier base and second is his own team. So what I have done, I have tried to improve my relationship with my suppliers. And today, I would say over last 5 or 6 years, they are no more suppliers to me, they are like my partners. So we are working towards a strategy wherein whoever new supplier we onboard, today is not a supplier to me, he is like my business partner. And me and my supplier, we must share a common vision. Unless and until we have a common vision, then there is no meaning working together. Like that's the first and foremost thing that we have done post-COVID. Second is my own team. Like in the previous panel also we discussed what are the plights of a truck driver. I would say most of the people who are in logistics, for last so many years, they must be not by choice, they must be by force. This was the scenario. In most of the organizations, people who were not doing good in other functions were dumped in logistics or in supply chain. That was the scenario pre-COVID days. But post-COVID, I think the situation is changing gradually. It's not fully changed yet, but gradually a prominence, significantly supply chain is getting prominence. And now, what I read from the news, the new CEOs are coming up from supply chain area. So more and more emphasis is now going to be how we can upskill our team members to accept today's challenges. So my efforts are, I'm trying to, because now with the changing technology, yesterday's technology is outdated today and tomorrow we have to work with something else. So the world is trying to be more and more digital. So I'm trying to upskill my team. My entire focus is on how, I can take them to the next level so that they are competent enough to match with the tomorrow's, technology, tomorrow's future technology. So that's how we have adopted. And the last and the third most important part is the visibility. I am trying to give visibility in each and every action. Because we have adopted a customer-centric approach wherein, basically procurement and supply chain is something between supplier and the customer, right? So what the supplier manufactures, it has to go to customer through us. And if we have that customer-centric approach, and all our efforts are towards, enhancing the customer satisfaction, definitely then procurement is going to be a value-adding function. It's not going to be no more a cost center, it's going to be a profit center. And I think that's what has changed in the last 5 years.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Subodh. Vikrant, over to you. Your thoughts and also from the QSR Foods perspective. Yeah.
Thanks, Venkat, and good evening to everybody, and thanks to Celerity team. Pre-COVID, I'll just divide this into two parts. The answer is pre-COVID and post-COVID. So pre-COVID, as Subodh also said, it used to be only cost optimization. Whatever you need to buy or whatever you need to look is used to be cost. Are you getting a profitability in when you're getting in? What changed post-COVID is, one, it's more sort of a resilience that how you look at it. That's one. Second, you're not depending on a single sole supplier. You need to create a multi-sourcing supplier. You need to create a regionalization or a localization so that you bring on those availability all the time. All thanks to the points put out by my colleagues here on the Suez Canal, on the Red Sea, that will continue to build on. You never know that Suez Canal has happened, it won't happen again. It might happen again. Something else has happened again. So the good thing, how you can build your regionalization, you build your supplier base who can bring out the consistency, bring you. Third, what has changed? Suppliers are not suppliers at all. You do a value engineering with them because they know, maybe I, in the QSR, maybe I know my world, that what we are doing. But if I go to a supplier who is basically doing a supply to 10 different organizations, QSR or tires or pharma, anything. So he brings more value chain. He brings more value onto the system. So you need to do a lot of value engineering with them, make them your partner, and understand what value that brings to your table rather than only focusing on the cost. Because if you do a value engineering, cost will always fall in place with you. And third, as my colleague said, is sustainability. Because supplier has to be sustainable for a long run if we basically look at. And the one thing which changed, and I think people will agree to it, post-COVID, the supply chain in all the organization is a critical part of the department now. It's like pre-COVID, I would say it was like a one department, just get the cost, okay. But now what has happened is, every department is coming to supply chain, asking and getting the cost vetted. Is it a right cost? Are we doing good with this supplier? Can you vet this cost for us? And that's how even the GMs or the CPOs or the people coming back to the team to get the value added. So that's what basically changed pre versus post.
No, I think a lot of common themes, moving from the regionalization, localization theme, the theme around cost to sustainability to business-centric approach, partnership building, and Amol in particular also spoke about visibility, digitization, and Subodh also referred to it. No, I think very, very common themes, but equally the flavors are very different. Moving on to the next part, I think we've already seen, and Amol spoke about digitization having taken on a different level, the visibility, etc., on a different level after COVID. But I just want to know, in your thoughts, how do you see like I was reading somewhere where the people said that, from the AI or a digitization perspective, the future is already here. It's just that it's not distributed uniformly. Yeah. So that's what we're waiting to probably see happen. But how do you see the kind of paradigm shift happen over the next few years? Maybe we can start with you, Vikrant, and yeah.
See, I believe this is good, digitization, or because I think that's going to ease the supply chain life as for us. I'll give you one example. For example, like at times you do a lot of contracting with and then there's a lot of document which comes for you to review. Thanks to AI, I would say Microsoft Copilot, to be very honest, what we use in the organization, you just ask and you just summarize. Rather than spending like 6-7 hours, you get the summary. So when you get the summary, you basically focus on those key pointers. So that's why I feel automation is important. That's one on that side. Second, always working on the Excel, pulling out the Excel data and looking at the Excel numbers. That's good. That will continue as a supply chain. That's in our gene and blood. We can't let the Excel go out of us, to be very precise. But what we did, we automated few of the processes. When we say automated, for example, can I have a visibility on where's my order is? Can I have a visibility when my the product come into how much stock do I have left? Rather than just open my app and I can see while even moving as such, whether you have So I feel it is important. It is going to be bring more benefit to the supply chain, and it's going to be more on the positive side. That's what I feel.
Subodh, your thoughts?
I would like to give a couple of examples from my organization. I guess most of you are watching cricket, right? At least IPL, I'm sure. So a couple of years back, 2-3 years back, you must have observed players while playing either bowling or batting, they used to put white cream here, just to prevent the insect attacks. So maybe last couple of years, you might not have observed people putting that white cream. And the credit, I would say, maybe goes to us. Now what we are doing, as I said, we are in pest management. So with help of drones, we are now spraying, these insecticides which take care of these flying insects, right? So now, you will not notice it, but people can now, the players can now freely play, and we can all enjoy the cricket matches. So this is how technology has helped, in a not so glamorous industry like pest management. Second example I would give, we are also into rodent prevention business. So what we have done earlier, we used to traditionally use those metal or plastic rodent boxes wherein the rats or mouse used to get trapped, right? So now we have all SIM-based rodent boxes wherein any catch is immediately through SMS notified. So for example, there is one big company wherein we have deployed more than 500 rodent boxes. Earlier system, the technician had to visit all these 500 boxes, open each and every box and check whether there is a trap inside. Maybe we needed 3 or 4 technicians on daily basis. Now, just one SMS and we know out of these 500, only 10 boxes have traps. And what used to cost us 3 technicians, 24 hours, now is done in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So this is how technology is helping us. And we are still, still evolving it, Besides this, we are also making very active use of AI in all contract management. So all our contracts which were traditionally, had to pass through those legal eyes and everything, and it is to take 15-20 days, and legal team, they sit on it for their own sweet time. So now it is happening very quickly, and that's the area where we are, trying to focus.
Thank you. Nikhil, just want to hear your thoughts on digital future in procurement.
So, like in the previous panel, people talked about the journey from sending out purchase order by post or in an envelope, and today through EDIs and all. But it has taken like 25 years. The next paradigm shift will be the accelerated adoption of technology. So that will happen so fast overnight. We are seeing that across in this room or maybe across the industries also. People are adopting technology, and people will set up the benchmarks that, okay, this is the new technology that is coming up, and the adoptability has to be faster if we actually have to take advantage of technology. Second, till now, whether it is AI or whether it is all digitization, if you look at the broader perspective, it is all towards planning. But there is one big aspect of procurement, which is cost. And till AI is not working on that. I read somewhere a term that is coming up still, and I think that will be the go-to place, is the cognitive computing. Cognitive computing is basically the system will take the sourcing decision. Today we always call it as sourcing, some call it as an art, some call it as a skill, but because it is still a human dependency. But that's where, and today we don't even see that some of the companies, the e-marketplaces, are actually adopting it. If you open any e-marketplace, you click anything, and it actually is suggesting you based on your sourcing. Whatever you clicked, you don't need to put on various filters also. You just have to pick one random thing, and they will suggest the specifications, they will suggest the pricing, very similar to that. Secondly, also I think because of so much digitization, today we talk about digitization and we are the users because we will be using those things. And we are dependent on the infrastructure, on the informational technologies experts, our IT guys. But what will happen is, when IT guys may come in later or in at early stage, but there will be, and there is still, a big threat of cybersecurity. What the next paradigm shift I see is that I think is that the procurement professionals will get a knowledge of cybersecurity, and they will actually start behaving as cybersecurity professionals also. So procurement guys are always deemed as magicians in the organizations. So any problem, you have to solve it. So, and I think when the cybersecurity, it's still in the inner circles of IT, and that is where the major paradigm shift is coming, that you want the technology, you take care of the cybersecurity also at the initial stage, rather than when the IT infrastructure come in and you are dealing with thousands of people in today's scenario. Those are my thoughts on this.
Very, very interesting. I think the whole piece about adoption rate going faster and cybersecurity, very, very, very. Yes.
Thanks, Venkat. So I think, as you said, right, we are already in the future. So I think we are already in the middle of the major transformation. So whenever we talk to a lot of CPOs and everything, I think digital transformation is definitely one of the biggest priority, because as we said, procurement is becoming more of a business enabler function rather than a cost function. So I think a couple of big technology or something which we are seeing very prominent right now with a lot of organizations doing us. So first one is definitely the AI-driven span analytics, which is already there. Because a lot of companies have a lot of data, but these are not in a standard format. Some have the PDF contract, some data is there, purchase orders are not in a correct format. Even when somebody is keying the purchase order, they can write any free text. So you don't have the good analytics. You don't know where are you spending, which categories you are spending, so you cannot take the decision correctly. So AI is already solving that problem. It gives you a very good taxonomies and different categories and everything. So when you are negotiating again, when you are renewing the contracts, it can really, really helping you. So that's the first thing definitely happening right now. And the second one is also more adoption of the control towers, which is kind of integrating the procurement with the supply chain and logistics. Now both together, they are taking the decision who to source, why to source, and also based on and it has definitely a lot of technology behind it in terms of the visibility of how the supplier performance, lead times, any particular risks and everything. So I think these are two things which is already happening, and a lot of companies are thinking about that. Thinking a little bit about in the future, I don't know how many years, maybe 4 or 5 years, I think procurement function, most of the operations will become driven by the system, whether it's the AI or something, but there will not be any purchase order entering, and probably, as Nikhil said, probably is that they will do the cognitive decision making also. So system will take the decisions instead of the human. But again, a lot of the procurement function will shift to more of creating those supplier ecosystem and making those procurement strategies to enable the business. So that will be the shift. So a lot of the change in the function and how the business work.
No, it's very interesting and scary. Amol.
Yeah. So when I talk about the pharma part, so a lot of things which is covered. I think so. We have on the pharma world, we have already started thinking about those bringing digitization, automation part. With respect to pharma world, from the post facto or if we talk about the past history or the data, we are now moving toward the predictive analysis part, or what it predicts like, where we want to be, how the management would look about. So I think so that is where we are focusing more on those using digital platforms and the automation part. There are already platforms wherein we are investing. If I'm talking about the pharma culture as such, that typically there is a procurement function who there is one team who works upon the sending RFX and calling for quotations and then comparing it. I think so all these tactical things have already gone. This is absolutely now the digital world is doing it actually. There are also chatbots. We will be now coming towards experience of an Amazon kind of things for the internal stakeholders as well, about where the current product is lying, at what rates people have got it, when it would be arriving at the sites. At that kind of an experience, we are bringing it through the digitization, I think. So we are working towards that. It would be evolving as of now. But these are some of the aspects which would play an important role. Currently, if we are talking in ERP systems, wherein a particular purchase order to run all the entire process, it is taking somewhere around 4 to 5 minutes kind of things. If these platforms, what we are working towards currently, it will be in few seconds. Maybe 25 to 30 seconds is what we are currently testing. So if that speed we are bringing up, I think so we are putting that kind of an agility and bringing that kind of an systemized approach so that the core team would focus more on the strategies rather than on tactical things. My friend mentioned about the Excel sheets and how we work around those things. I think so that would be definitely going away from here about preparing presentations, decks and all. We will be going out of that. From the sourcing point of view, mentioned about the co-pilot, it is already giving some kind of a lot of information and insights about where the sources are, what kind of documentations they are having, what kind of patents they have, when they are expiring. I think so these are all very important aspects which already in automation and AI is building up and which is helping for us to take quick decisions. Turnaround time is increased. I think so that is one area wherein we are fast. We are reaching out to the market. That is where it will be, I think so, pivotal and creating an important role. So I think so that is where we are working towards.
No, thank you. So I think broadly, the way I see the consensus is contract management, procurement operations already getting heavily automated and digitized. Probably visibility through numbers, data should improve. Negotiation, cost negotiations and discussions should get shorter and shorter. And probably even decision making through cognitive AI is probably on the way. I think just as the last part of our thing, and we'll start with you, Vikrant, given your schedule to catch a flight. So I think bringing it all together in terms of what we've spoken about, the changes that are happening, the digitization that's going on, and the fact that procurement will be center and critical to business sustainability and delivery, what do you think are critical skills and leadership traits that will evolve, and how do you think the next generation of leaders need to plan themselves for it?
See, I think this is evolving, to be very precise. Margin will remain the center, whether it's the digitization, because that's how the supply chain looks upon. And then I think people will start looking, and that's, we are already looking at it, it's sustainability or ESG is going to be the very key prominent, and that's how the things are evolving. Anything what you're buying, what you're looking at, has to basically build back to the sustainable sourcing. It has to be basically what it's bringing back to the environment as such, which is all happening as such. If you look at on the QSR perspective, what we do, we've already shifted all to the paper packaging as such, out of plastic packaging. So that's how you try to build those things. Margins plus digitization. When you look at the leadership quality in the trade, you need to be understand that how the technology is evolving. You can't say that I've arrived, actually. You need to build yourself. You need to build those acumen within your team. You need to identify that what person, if needs certain specific training to build on the AI or build on the digitization. I think that's how you need to pick and choose. Maybe because your team, every individual has their own state of the art or has their own challenges or own thing to bring onto the table. You can't say that he's right or he's wrong, or she's right or she is wrong, simple as that. So build those, identify those, and bring those humbleness to the table, and always ready to adopt the change. I think that's where we are also evolving. Supply chain is more about adaptability, change, acceptance, and how we can bring more value to the organization. So that's what I say.
Thank you, Vikrant. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what I do with my team is basically we follow three simple words, which is CDC, communicate.
Can you just keep it a little close?
Yeah. So we follow three simple words, CDC, which is communicate, delegate, and collaborate. So this is how my team is working today. So basically, we need to have that better connect with internal as well as external stakeholders. That is very critical for the business. Unless and until we have that a critical connect. I mean, we need to really understand what are the challenges at the ground level for our customers and as well as for our suppliers. If we are knowing that, then 50% of our work is done. Then delegation of authority and responsibility is very critical. And collaborating very well within functions and collaborating with your suppliers, with your customers is also very, very, essential in today's world. I would also like to say, more prominence is now coming on purchase intelligence, because we all have to now understand every day is going to be a new day, a new challenge. And like he said, this risk mitigation has to be now inbuilt in all our strategies. So we really need to focus more on how preempt or understand the upcoming challenges in advance, and so that we are well prepared to tackle those challenges. And this has to be part of each and every strategy that we try to build on or work on.
Thank you, Subodh. Thank you.
So, in my viewpoint, the skill set or the qualities that a procurement or a supply chain professional should have. So, before that, we should all acknowledge, like we all have discussed, supply chain and procurement is the fulcrum around which the companies will flourish. Today's top companies in the world have the best supply chains in the world. So, when we look at this, so supply chain leader has to become the change leader. He has to be the catalyst. He can no longer be the back office manager. Then I also think our biggest target since millennia, I should say, from day one has always been the cost. But now cost will become more pertinent just because you should always see that the global economies are shrinking, not increasing. So the pressure on all companies will come back again on the cost. Sustainability is the buzzword, will continue to remain buzzword. Now we have to start talking about affordable sustainability. We can no longer say that, okay, we want sustainability, because we are saying this and just not implemented it because it's not affordable. I'm a firm believer that the people are key to everything, key to for every organization. And the change, the next paradigm shift in the leadership skills will be to do the cross-pollination of talent. We should stop asking automotive guys for automotive, pharma guys for pharma. You should bring talent, like he said, we have to have cross-industry collaboration. You have to have different set of eyes looking at your set of problems. Then only we can say that we'll be able to take the organization or the supply chain function forward. Last but not the least, digitization. Every leader today is talking about digitization. I think I remember in the last panel somebody talking about. Nobody is talking about data harmonization. So the leader has to take that lead, that I will take care of the data harmonization. Service providers will come. There are good softwares still available in the market. But as I always say, you put garbage in, garbage comes out. So unless and until you have data harmonization, and that skill set has to be acquired by the procurement supply chain professionals to take the lead and make sure that the data is available, but it has to be harmonized. So these are my thoughts on the skill set for the procurement leaders for the future.
Very, very interesting. So Deepak is talking about cross-pollination, which can put consultants out of business.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing in the business alignment we are talking about, right? So I think one, it is already happening. One is a culture shift. So, and we talked about it, right? Procurement is not about the cost and everything. And that's what we are seeing with the industry also. So previously there used to be the CPOs, right? Chief Procurement Officer. So a lot of companies are changing that role as the Chief Commercial Officers now. So it's not about the procurement or it's not about the purchasing anymore. It's about the driving the commercial success for the organization. That's us changing the culture. And that's why even the companies are putting the procurement as the central point for everything. So it's a central point for the marketing, ESG, and your supply chain and the product. So they sit at the intersection of each other. And that's why when we talked about the skill also, so they need to, so previously, like in my organization, if we have to go, okay, When to bring in the procurement guy? When we have to do the negotiation. They are the negotiation muscle, bring in the procurement, that they will get the best pricing. But that's not the only skills required anymore. It's about the technology, it's about the understanding of collaboration with the different teams, and even like we talked about supply chain, they need to understand the customer matrix, they need to understand the carbon credits, everything. So I think the skill requirement will be more diverse within the procurement to make it more successful.
Thanks.
So, when we see about the leadership qualities going ahead, I agree with all of them about it is not only about the subject matter expertise nor what we require in the procurement function, but it is more than that. We are now expecting the procurement function to be a co-owner with other functions as well, or the cross-functional teams as well. It is not only about to work in isolations that this is my area or department and I'll be only focusing on my procurement activities. But he has to go and shake hands with the finance guys or the business team or the project management team and be a co-owner with them and be partner to them, so that would be helping us to bring that kind of a change or the agility or also the adoption. Everyone spoke about the digitization or automation, but this would be changing very fast, pretty fast. Maybe every couple of months or 3 months, there would be some kind of a new thing would be coming up. And that is what he spoke about, the change management. The leader would be someone who would be driving that kind of a change with a proper direction to the team. There has to be, we call it a term of a DAC, maybe many of them would be knowing about direction, alignment and commitment. If these kind of an aspects are brought properly to the leaders or the team below, I think so that is what is expected, so that it is from the top down and how it is driven to bring those kind of a change. And this is inevitable. Now changes would be happening very fast. The team has to adapt to those changes. And there would be again a concept of both the sides, how we balance each other. We call it as a polarity, wherein we have both the things, but we'll have to take it across to drive those team along with us. While digital platform is important, but the human force is also important for us. We cannot be either or in that kind of things. We have to have both of them, and we'll have to balance that actually to see that where we want to bring that kind of a value addition. According to me, that would be a leader going ahead.
No, very fantastic thought. Sorry.
Just adding one point to Amol is, I think top to bottom when we talk about, I think empowering your team is also very, very important. Unless and until you do empowerment or give them then, because you can't be present everywhere. And they might fail, they might come back, but that's how they learn. So empowering and empowerment to your team is very, very important.
I think a lot of the skills you spoke are needed even today, but just that they'll get more and more critical as we go along, except of course the digital part of it and the data harmonization. I think they referred to it in the previous talk as well. So it's very, hopefully we will see more CEOs evolve from the supply chain and more in the procurement space going forward. Yeah.